Yeah. Yep.
Could you go down? I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Stefan. I'm work for Wikivoyage, and I want to show you how we use Wikidata on our project. Our main feature are the info boxes. I think some of you talked about it. These are some of the features of our user boxes. So we can give the Wikidata as optional ID, so we can use info boxes in documentation sites. All our parameters are case insensitive, so easy to use, and we even implemented a check for the right parameters. If you use unknown parameters, you will get an error message on your site. Our info boxes are quite flexible, so if you don't use a parameter, maybe population or something like that, the whole row is not shown. If you use it and leave it empty, the information or the value is fetched from Wikidata directly, or if you use a local one, you can overwrite the Wikidata information. So our info boxes for cities have a special features. They can find the proper province or state of a city. It climbs up the hierarchy on Wikidata. Even if there are 5 or 6 steps, it stops if it finds the right item on Wikidata. And all the information are stored in a submodule on Wikivoyage. Yeah, we have a special Wikidata tools gadget. So for contributors who want to know it, they get all information from Wikidata marked so they can see it. And information in the info box are extended. I can show it to you. In case of the Cambodian city of Battambang, this is the view with Wikidata tools. So you can see it a little bit gray, and you have a Wikidata flag. And the values are compared between local value and Wikidata value. So you can press the button, edit Wikidata, and change the population, or just click on this delete button and you kill the value, the local value in your info box automatically. And besides this, if there are missing information on Wikidata, like the tourist info here, you have an edit button just to add the info for tourism information. And besides this, you have categories, maintaining categories. So articles with different population, Wikidata and local. So some user want to fix the information in the info boxes or at Wikidata, so you have a lot of maintaining categories. We have Wikidata on some more places in our articles. I scroll down. If you see it's a Chinese water town, all marked information are from Wikidata, like the hotel, local names, addresses, phone numbers, everything comes from Wikidata. Also the coordinates that provide a dynamic map, and even the official website. In this case, Nanjun doesn't have one. Or if you take a look at Cottbus, my hometown, also the official websites, everything that is stored in Wikidata, we fetch it directly and show it in our articles. Yeah. Oh, I talked too fast.
You have 1 minute left.
Yeah.
Do you have time for questions?
Yes.
I noticed that you had tools at the top for automatically filling in like Wikipedia such. Is that part of the template, or is that part of your gadgets or like your scripts? Like at the top, if you scroll up.
Ah.
Like those buttons, yeah.
Yeah, that's JavaScript. That's works
wonderful.
locally at the moment. But I talked with the Wikidata guys, and hopefully we'll edit button to edit directly from here. there's a project in Berlin right now, and maybe in future you can edit it directly on Wikidata in your local wiki.
That's wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Great.
The next one.
Okay, so while you set up, just for the people who have come in, this is the lightning talk session, and it is all different topics. So this is the session to find out about all things Wikimedia. Everyone has 5 minutes. You know who you are if you're giving a talk, so just get your talk ready if you're next in the order. Perfect, thank you.
I decided I'm next in the order. Mine's going to be very low tech. I don't know where to plug this in. I'm S. Philbrick. I go by Phil. I'm an OTRS agent, an OTRS administrator. How many people know what OTRS is? Oh, good. Part of the reason I'm not showing you anything is, as you probably know, OTRS is intended to be confidential, so I can't show you anything. So, with that, any questions? No. There are two main functions to OTRS. There's some little ones, but in a 5-minute talk, I'll hit the big two. We are the face of Wikimedia to the public. Most of you spend a lot of time interacting, but mostly with each other as editors. We are the people who interact with the public. And the public sometimes is very complimentary, but sometimes not. I like to say we're the face of it, but obviously we do things by email, so face isn't quite the right word, but you can think of us as the help desk to the general population. Most of the people we deal with in this function are non-editors, and there are also a number of people who are just barely editors, meaning they've only worked on one article ever and they're running into problems and they haven't yet learned that the right thing to do is find help on Wikipedia, and we often just direct them where to do that. We often do that, but we often will take care of issues ourselves. The second main area is permissions. And I assumed that everybody knew what permissions was, but I had a hallway conversation and realized maybe I have to explain it. Lots of times you write an article, somebody puts up a photo, and then somebody else comes along and says, wait a minute, I don't see that we have proper rights for that, and take it down. Someone says, well, how do I get this photo up? And they're told, send a permission statement into permissions, and some nice person will deal with it promptly.
3 months later.
I would kill for 3 months. I'll get to that in a second. Permissions people have a slightly different mix of people, whereas the info EN and all the info queues, EN's the biggest, English is the biggest, are mostly non-editors. Permission is both editors and non-editors. Many editors trying to add a picture and being told to come over here. So there's some editing experience, often very limited, and non-editors who have been asked to provide a picture and they've been told to go through permissions. The people we want involved in permissions need to know a lot about copyright. The people involved in InfoEN don't have to have as extensive a knowledge of copyright. So part of the reason I'm here is we need more agents. Who should become an agent? Anybody who's an experienced editor. You don't have to be an admin, it helps, but you don't have to be, but we want you to be experienced. But the critical thing is you have to be able to be calm and polite. Whereas on the Wikimedia we say be bold. We don't say that on OTRS. And then let me just show you where you can find more information. This is the technical part. Go there. A couple things on backlogs. A few months ago, the info ENQ was at 700 and multiple months. It is down to 60 as of this morning, which is manageable. Woo! Get a little lower, but it's there. Here's the bad news. The permissions queue I wrote down is over 1,000. I checked it this morning. It's at 1,300. And there are more than I care to think about that are over a year old. I'm sure that there have been some processed in the meantime, but a year-long backlog is just unacceptable. So when I leave Montreal, I'm gonna go back and start working on dealing with permissions. But I don't wanna deal with it myself, we need some help. I'll just reemphasize, anybody with general knowledge of editing Wikipedia can help audit InfoEN. We want people who feel comfortable with copyright or are willing to become comfortable. In other words, we're gonna work on some training and we'll get you more comfortable with copyright issues. So,
Cool heads.
pardon?
Cool heads.
Cool heads. Many people who write in are very upset about something, and one of the things we talked about is we want to start up with empathy. We understand your concern, but here's how we're going to try and address it. So we have to be a little more. Wikipedia ought to be more empathetic than it is, but I'm not going to deal with that. There are few enough OTRS agents that I can say we are going to be empathetic. You did enjoy. Okay.
Thank you
I'll
so
save some
much.
time.
So, we also want people to be comfortable with copyright, and that's why we created this nice tool. So my talk's called License Notices for Pictures from Wikimedia Commons and Wikipedia. My name is Katja and I work at Wikimedia Deutschland. And we created the Attribution generator last year. Last year we released it in German and English. And its goal is to simplify the reuse of images from Commons and Wikipedia by giving correct license attributions. As of yesterday, 35,000 license notices have been created. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the tool right now. So you go to attribution-generator.org, and what it does is you can copy and paste any Wikipedia article or Wikimedia Commons picture into the tool, and it searches for all the pictures that are in this article. You can then choose which one you want to reuse. I'm choosing this one. And then it asks you a couple of questions. For example, how do you want to use it? I'm choosing I want to use it online. And how do you want to publish this image? Do you want to combine it with other works, or do you want to use it on its own? It also asks you if you want to change the image or if you want to use it in its original unmodified form. And I'm going to say I'm going to change the picture, and it asks me what I want to modify. I want to crop it. You have to give your name because you are also now also have to be attributed now. And you have to choose a license for your adaptations. And then it's done, and you can use the license attribution and copy and paste it to wherever you want to use it, in text format, plain text format, or HTML format. Yeah. So, what can you do now? As I told you, the tool is available in German and English, but obviously there are so many more languages in the movement, and we would like you to translate the tool to your language. You can contact me about it or go to the Commons Attribution Generator page and find out how it works. Or you can meet me at the booth at Wikimedia Germany on the 4th floor. You can also tell us how we can improve the tool, what its features are supposed to be in the coming years, because we are planning to develop it further. Yeah, do you have a question?
Yeah, so the Commons have many thousands of templates.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are easy to figure out what they are all about, some of them are not.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of templates can you interpret?
It's hard to tell you a percentage. We try to cover a lot of ground, but obviously the tool is not perfect yet. And I hope it will get better when structured data comes to Commons. But yeah, it's a long way to go until then.
And how does it deal with public domain images? What will happen if you...
It tells you that it's in the public domain and that you don't have to give any notices.
Okay.
You can just
That's
use
the
it.
simple case.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does it like recommend that you give attribution anyway? Because that's generally recommended even if it's not required by law.
I think it does, and it also tells you that the public domain is different in all the legislation, so you might have to check with a lawyer.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it also tells you we are not giving legal advice, and you also have to check, always have to check with a lawyer if you're not sure on how to use it.
Wonderful.
I recommend that you try it out and then maybe give feedback to me, write me an email, come to the booth. We have flyers about it.
Is it integrated in Commons at all, or do you have to go to the separate website to access it?
It's a separate website, but I hope it will be integrated in the coming years because there is a tool to give attribution on Commons, but it's not as good, I would say. And yeah, I would love for it to be integrated into Commons.
I really love this tool. Is the source code available?
Oh yeah, the source code is available on GitHub. Our wonderful team at Wikimedia Estonia, somewhere in the back, wrote the code. Everything is open source and Wikimedia style.
So then apart from the comments, so the media view, so the standard view on Wikipedia also has attribution tool.
Sorry, can you speak up?
The media viewer, so the standard
Mhm.
on Wikipedia, click on the image, the media viewer view also has attribution tool. How does it differ from this? And also, if you remember that there was a lot of criticism actually in this part of media viewer. Anything to improve some of this? Or
Do you mean how the attributions differ from each other, or?
the attribution
Yeah.
to the media viewer differs from the
I think in the attribution tool in Media Viewer, it doesn't give links to the licenses, and it just say it's CC by SA, but you have to give a link to the license, for example.
Oh, there's a link.
Okay, I mean.
One more question. A lot of attributions require mention of the author.
Mm-hmm.
And but if an author is a simple string, it's pretty simple to figure out. If an author is another template, it might be a mess. How does it deal with that?
It tries its best.
Yeah. I think it tries to take the plain text, the plain text of whatever is in the template. Maybe you can
And
correct me
figure
if
out
I'm
the
wrong.
name out of that somehow?
Yeah, it tries to like the most common templates, but I guess just tries its best.
Okay, I think the time is up, but
The
you can-
time is up,
I will.
yeah.
I will go straight to
Can
the
you go
booth
ahead.
upstairs, and you can just meet me there. Thank you.
Thanks. And if people want to plug in, overlap with each other and plug in at the end during the questions, it can be very useful too.
I think that I have to change the source in some way or another, but if there's someone who's more like technologically knowledgeable than me, then thank you.
Hey.
Whoa. Okay, so my name is Eric Luth and I work for Wikimedia Sweden. And hopefully during the next 5 minutes I will have time to go through our project we're building for open data, how we did it, why we did it, and some of our outcomes, because I spent quite a lot of the last year trying to improve the situation of open data in Sweden. So why did we choose to do this project? Basically because Sweden is desperately lagging behind in the work with open data. It's heavily prioritized, focused by the European Union, but we are among the worst. If there's anyone of you wondering what open data is, I don't really have time to define it very good because it could be used for the entire session in itself. But it's freely available public information. If you want to know more, use Wikipedia. But we are, as I said, among the worst in the European Union, and Swedish evaluation showed that 1/3 of the Swedish municipalities have no idea about the laws that govern open data in Sweden, and half of the municipalities don't know how to follow them, which is a problem. And also because Wikidata is great, we could have great use of much more open data on Wikidata to try to integrate it into the Wikimedia projects. So with that in mind, we tried to draw up a concept for a project where we could try to influence more municipalities to open up their data. We chose to do it through a concrete example, which was about public art. Try to get more municipalities to release their data on public art, and in this process try to explain to them why open data in itself is an important concept. It was quite hard at the beginning because we had very few contacts, and so we tried to email each municipality personally, or I mean not personally, but individually, or not individually either, but doesn't matter, one by one. But it was hard because it takes a lot of time. Mass emails don't work because then you don't get any reply. We got some replies, and through that we could try to establish a chain of contacts to ask each one, could you say someone that we could get in contact with in another municipality? After a while, we got in contact with the Swedish Federation of Municipalities and Districts, which made it possible for us to send emails to all of the municipalities in Sweden. And that's when we could step up the speed in trying to meet the different municipalities. Through them, we also arranged 2 workshop sessions where we tried to combine more municipalities into one to explain how open data could be used efficiently and in a good way. This is one example. It looks very funny maybe. It's the mayors in a quite small municipality in Sweden where we met to try to explain to them why open data is fantastic. And as you see on their smiles, I think they agree. Some of the effects and outcome, we met with 46 municipalities during 1 year, and also tried to arrange workshop sessions to actually try to get the work to not only be theoretical but practical as well. And the outcome, or from those we created a roadmap where we tried to say what could you do yourselves to improve the situation in your municipality, and also propose some policy proposals that could be done at the national level to address the problems. We also handed it over to the Minister of Public Administration in May, and I hope that he will follow our advice, because that would be crucial to get Sweden to not be the worst in the European Union. And we also tried to address those problems to several members of the Swedish Parliament and members of the European Parliament. I think more importantly that we have gained a lot of contacts when it comes to open data in general, and have become some sort of central player in the development of open data in Sweden in general. What can you learn from the project that we have done? I think that for the first thing, open data has shown to be a very good project to increase the trust of Wikimedia Sweden. It's not the most controversial maybe topic, but a lot of municipalities are interested and they don't know much about it, and it has made it possible for us to become some sort of central player, not only for open data, but for free knowledge in general. And by choosing to do it through a very concrete example, it was also easy to explain to the municipalities how could you do it and why is it good to do this. So you can also, not only that open data is good, but it's any project good to do it through a concrete example. And the last thing, this was the first of our attempts to lobby towards local governments. You don't have to focus on the national government. It's actually also very possible to focus on local governments to try to influence the development on a local scale. Just credits for the wonderful picture that I showed before, and I think that time is up. If you have any questions, I will be around the rest of the day, and you can also ask me afterwards. Thank you.
Got it?
Hello,
My name is Sven-Erik Soosaar. I'm from Wikimedia Estonia, and I want to tell you about a project that we initiated this year. It started in March this year, and it's named Million Plus in Estonian, or Million Plus in translation. So what's the aim of this project? We want to increase Estonian Wikipedia, which right now, which was founded in 2002, and it celebrates its 15th anniversary soon. And now we have only 160,000 articles, which makes 44th place in Wikipedia. And we have about 300 active users. We decided that this is not enough. We have to do something to increase Wikipedia's volume. How to do it? We have only 1 million native speakers of Estonian, so it's quite a small nation. And if we look at the growth of Estonian Wikipedia, we see it is quite steady through the years. But in order to make this big jump, we have to increase and accelerate the speed from 1,000 articles per month to 30,000 articles per month. So how to do it? Either we teach Estonian to another 30 million people to that they could help us, or we should find some internal resources to increase Wikipedia. So we decided we have to use the momentum that we have in our country right now. And Republic of Estonia celebrates its 100th anniversary next year in February. So, and we have a lot of celebrations, and next year, or in 2019, Estonian university education in Estonian language celebrates its 100th anniversary. Before Estonian, we had one big university in Estonia. It's University of Tartu, which was when Estonia was part of Russian Empire. It was one of the best universities, and nowadays it's also one of the best universities in Eastern Europe. And in 1919, all the official language of teaching in university was gradually changed from Russian and German to Estonian, and it took time, about 10 or 15 years, but then all the subjects in university were taught in Estonian. So nowadays we have these celebrations have already started, and we have celebrations not only in Estonia but also abroad. You can see on this web page, and many NGOs and local communities have decided to make gifts to 100-year-old republic. And so Wikimedia Estonia and University of Tartu, we decided to make a gift to Estonia as 1 million articles in Estonian Wikipedia. The problem is that Estonian language, as a language of science and higher education, is nowadays under pressure of English, because education is also globalized, and more subjects in universities are being taught in English and not so much in Estonian. So we need more free knowledge in Estonian, and Wikipedia to what we believe is the best platform for this. So this is a homepage of sorry, I don't know how you can see this homepage yourself. And the University of Tartu and the Wikimedia Estonia are the main initiators, but now we have several other institutions that are coming along and providing their help. And we have made an open call, and all the organizations and institutions who want to join, either by donating some free content for Wikipedia, or giving some material support or expertise, organizing events, everything, and everybody is welcome. The problem with how could we preserve quality if we rise quantity in such a short time? We try to attract all experts in Estonia from all branches of human knowledge, and Tartu University is helping us in this. And we use a neural machine translation system which is developed in University of Tartu, but it doesn't mean that we just translate with bots and create a massive number of articles. We will edit human editing is in every article. So as a professional editors and also students of translation sciences will be helping us. So suur tänu, thank you.
Okay, it's me again, but I won't need the 5 minutes, I think. What's the button? Source? Yes. Okay, this short presentation is more in kind of asking for some support help and maybe some ideas. We on Wikivoyage have quite a big difference to Wikipedia, but we think Wikivoyage content is widely more used mobile than the Wikipedia, and many people would like to add their content mobile because travel guide, of course, is mostly maintained when you are on the road and not sitting at home on your desktop, and that's quite a big problem for us, that the mobile editing in the wiki software is quite limited. So this is what we think about at the moment, and it's a little feature that it's under development at the moment. So that we have on mobile devices kind of little pop-up windows with some useful information to every item we have in our articles. As an example, you can see the Egypt Museum in Cairo. Unfortunately, it's German, but the second is a taxi button. So actually, you can read there, please take me to, and then the object's name in local language. So you can just show it to the taxi driver if you don't speak the local language. And you can find all the necessary information, including dynamic map in one of these pop-up windows. I can show you at the moment only screenshots because it's still under development. Maybe it's useful for some other projects as well. If people want to use Wikipedia when they are on travel and walk around, maybe such little windows could be useful as well. Yeah, as I told, the Wikivoyage content is widely used on mobile devices. And the big problem is if you have contributors who are not that familiar with the wiki software and the wiki syntax, they have no chance to add some of these listing items. Even if you use the visual editor, you should know that templates are existing, and even if you know that there are templates, you should know the name of it. And many anonymous users or not users that are not familiar, in most cases don't know it. So that's why we have some suggestions, and I hope maybe some of you guys can support us or have new ideas. The most problem on mobile devices is it's not possible to add templates if you edit a mobile website. And a good suggestion would be that every weekend can set up a small list of favorable templates, including an alias name. So the most templates have a very unuseful name, but so the editor could show a little button like at museum or at what else ever. And we think this is quite important for us because people are on the road. If they sit in a nice cafe in Bangkok and want to add a museum or change just the opening times, you have no chance to do it at the moment. So we have a kind of editor for the desktop version, and it would be great. So I go back to the Nanjun, and if you just edit something, this is for desktop version, of course too big, it should be responsive, and this one is self-made, and the problem is it doesn't work in the visual editor. And that's why we hope for some support in future that something like that is maybe available in future in the MediaWiki software. Okay, that's it. Thanks.
The targeted community. Okay, I'll just go and. It's not
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Apparently.
We're not going exactly in the order on the
Okay.
As long as everyone gets to present, that's okay.
Which table? Yes, it's not HDMI.
You don't have to switch over? So on the HDMI 1, you have to switch your external source.
Anyone using a presentation that's not a slideshow? Does anyone have a talk that's not a slideshow that can go right now? Hold up. Yeah. Got it?
I think so, yeah.
You sure you don't need to flip on? There we go. Good.
So, after this lengthy introduction, my name is Mukesh. I work as a translator. I translate books. This is my daily profession. And what I will do today is I will turn myself for a moment into a gardener, and I will attempt to plant a small seed of doubt in your minds, and perhaps this will somewhat change the way we perceive verifiability and how truth should be understood in Wikipedia. Because after all, one of our fundamental rules is verifiability and not truth. So, the aircraft you see in the slide is what sparked this whole issue. The discussion around the technical properties of this aircraft led me eventually to create the presentation you are seeing right now. Because sometimes when we talk about technical properties of object, it's very easy to state that if something is, for example, like a building, if it's 657 feet tall, then it really is 657 feet tall, and the problem which I am discussing is in that case, at least theoretically, non-existent. However, if we are talking about less precise measurements, problems start to crop up, because some sources will provide us with approximate numbers. However, those numbers will not be classified as approximate. They will be provided as is, which in turn will mean that we should, as Wikipedians, when writing articles, that we should quote those numbers verbatim. However, my position is that this is not the case. The aircraft which you saw on the first slide, the source which was used to create the article about this aircraft stated that it meaning the aircraft, experienced certain technical issues at an altitude of 12,000 feet. The source was written in English. The aircraft was Soviet actually, and the article was written in Polish. If the article had been written in English, this would alleviate the entire problem, because English still uses the measurements, the so-called imperial measurements of feet, miles. However, yes, I know that it's a generalization which is not completely correct. However, please remember that aviation retains the imperial system of measurements all over the world. However, since Wikipedia is not an aviation manual that a pilot would use to learn how to... Well, you know, the future is bright and open, maybe. So. However, right now, that is not the case right now. Pilots don't learn from Wikipedia, let's hope. And the article, which is written in what I would call a metric language, needs to state the technical data also in metric values and not in imperial values, or at least provide both of them. The problem is, in that case, what kind of number should be assigned to that 12,000 feet where the aircraft starts to experience technical difficulties? Because if we are talking about, let's say, the wingspan or the length of the aircraft, then again, the problem disappears like it would with the building, because that's a precise technical measurement that is provided as is. However, if we are talking about performance in the air, then something, even if something is set to occur at an altitude of 12,000 feet, it doesn't mean exactly 12,000 feet from sea level up in the air, because technical properties might change, because the properties of the air change, and phenomena which occur at 12,000 feet might, in other circumstances, occur 100 feet lower, 500 feet lower, or 500 feet higher. However, whatever is provided, each number will come with a certain, 10 seconds, will come with a certain mistake, which will be ingrained in that number. We, as Wikipedians, are then sort of slaves towards the source, which, in my opinion, as a professional translator, is not the desired situation. As a translator, I would use my expertise and additional knowledge to alleviate the problem and to provide the reader with information that is as accurate as possible. However, the problem with the source material for Wikipedia is that the source, when quoted verbatim, might in fact provide untruthful and not precise information. And that is all from me. Thank you very much.
So this is ADNI. Here's it. Hi everybody. So I would like to talk about the PyBox installer. It is an installer that runs Raspberry Pi into Wi-Fi hotspots, delivering offline content. As you may know, there is about 4 billion people without internet access around the world. It can be because of internet access that is expensive, slow, unreliable, or because of censorship. So we can take a concrete example. For example, with the Orange Foundation, that is partner of QX. The Orange Foundation actually builds schools in the global south. So they build the buildings, they pay the teachers, and they give the content. In order to give the content, they use low-end tablets. They don't use books because it is cheaper to use the tablets, but hardware is very slow. So we have to bring the content to those tablets. A solution is to use PyBox. So this is a Raspberry Pi. It has content on it. It doesn't access to the internet, and it creates a local network. So you can connect on it. There is the PyBox Wi-Fi network. You can connect right now, and you will have the content it has on the SD card of the Raspberry Pi. The content that can be put on the Raspberry Pi is various. You can put all the QX content because it is QX inside. So there is many Wikimania's contents in different languages, but also there is Gutenberg.org, Kalite, that is a Khan Academy live version for offline, and Wikifundy and TED Talks and more. So the PyBox installer, in order to create this Raspberry Pi, actually, it is an installer available on Windows, Linux, and macOS. You download it, you plug it to your computer. It is very straightforward. You run the program, choose the content, then you run the installation. It can take several hours, so you can make it during the night. And when the installation is done, you have an SD card that have an operating system in it and all the content. You plug the SD card with the Raspberry Pi, and it works just as it. That's all. Thanks. If I have time, I can take some questions.
Can I download this from anywhere? Is this like on with
Okay, so it is the project is hosted on Fanagit. It is a GitLab instance.
but soon we'll put on the QX the main page as the links to the download.
Great, thanks.
Can you update it? How do you update it to bring it up to date later?
Okay, so there is no currently update process. You will have to create a new code from scratch.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay, I am Hone from Wikimedia Norway. I'm going to talk about how we are trying to change the copyright laws in our country. So the problem is that, for example, we have not the free of panorama in Norway. And we have looked at Belgium, that is green on this map, that they have established for free of panorama recently. And also we are aware of the work in Estonia, but they also are working on that in the legal system. But there are a lot of other countries also that have some issues. So I think this could be something more could look into. And also, there are some censorship of Wikipedia. This is also something that politicians can do something about, and we can encourage the politicians to do it. For countries where we have some kind of democracy, Wikipedia matters when there are political elections. The articles about the politicians are read a lot more. And the politicians also knows it, and they think that Wikipedia is important. So we in Norway have some elections in the autumn. And we did a survey among the Norwegian political parties. We have 9 parties in Norway that are reasonably believed to be part of the parliament. And all 9 responded to our survey, and that we were very glad to learn that. And we have made a report and on that and published that. So what we asked for in this survey was how satisfied you are with the articles in Wikipedia. We had also some questions. If you edit your articles, do you provide images? And how important do you think that knowledge is available in the Norwegian languages? We have 3 languages in Norway, 5 million people, and we need 3 languages. And how important does your party think that free knowledge is? Most parties are pleased with their articles in the Norwegian Wikipedia. Then the far left complains about that their politicians are deleted, and the far right complains that the articles focuses on less important negative issues. Uh, 6 of the 9 parties fully agree that state-funded knowledge and should be submitted under a free license where possible. And that's important because they don't agree on what is possible to publish, of course. And also we emphasize the parties that they are more into the information that or into politics that will gain we also acknowledge that there are lack of information among the political parties about freedom of knowledge, and they want more information from us. It is important, and free knowledge is there's awareness of that. Okay, we provided the information of the report on Facebook, and I also have a summary in English that is available for all of you. And we also had a discussion on our village camp, and volunteers are working on some of these response from the parties and improving the articles from that. Okay, so that's our goal, and yeah, thank you for listening. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What did it actually mean that people were deleted from Wikipedia?
The articles about the people was
Actually, they were deleted.
Yeah, the articles about they did, and the far left politicians weren't in part of the parliament before, and they were said to be not important enough for the Wikipedia. But the far left think they are important.
That should be.
Okay.
I will use the PGA key.
Which one? Computer?
Just as he's prepping up there, we actually have till 12:30. So even though we have sessions that are listed on the page, if anyone has anything they want to talk about, lightning talks are all about improv, whatever you're interested in. It can be a question, it doesn't have to be an answer. So we actually have some time after the next 2 talks. So if people want to prep something, they can. Good.
Please. Hello, I'm Simon. I'm from Austria. I like commons, or I love commons. I love looking through images. I love coordinates. I love maps, and I also love to know where images have been taken. And previously, it was very hard to assign coordinates to already existing images on commons. That's why I wrote a tool on labs for it, and I would like to show you how that is intended to work. So you basically go to that URL for the tool. You have 3 options to select images. The easiest or the suggested one is to use a category and get a list of all images. So I selected the category for tonight's party, and then the tool automatically loads all images in that category listed below each other, and you can check for images with already assigned coordinates, and you also can select images without coordinates, and then click on the map where the image has been taken from, and assuming you are logged in the tool, you can then press the save button, and the coordinates are then automatically stored in the image. So this is just the edit I did here. I will revert it right afterwards. And besides assigning camera location, you are also, it's possible to assign the object location, so where the exact object stands. So that is done with the shift click on the map. So when pressing shift and clicking here, then you get the star and indicating the object location, and then you can also like save it as before. What also can be done is to get a map of all images of that category. And wow, we got Windsor Station, Montreal, and there's an image from Vancouver. Does that really is the case? Maybe one has to check the category or to check the location of that image. So we already found something to work on. About the tool, the code is on GitHub, so that is openly available. The tool currently is translated in 4 languages, which is definitively open for improvements, and there's a small tutorial on the Commons page, which basically says that what I just showed. So thanks for your time, and if you have questions, yeah?
Good question. Is there any way to show not like OpenStreetMap data, but satellite data somehow? I often end up trying to find locations for, places in a wilderness, and there, OpenStreetMap is just uniform green field with no features at all.
I have been considering that. The problem I found right now is that which imagery resource to use. I mean, I would like to avoid to maintain, like, for every country a different source within this tool, because there might be better places. One idea I already have is that there's an editor imagery index. Oh, I won't find it, do I? Yes, here. This is part of the OpenStreetMap project, which lists imagery resources that are available for like mapping. But this tool is currently focused on OpenStreetMap usages, so there are some imagery resources which may only use or which granted permission for project only. So I try to like get licensing information into that one, so that this would be an extremely helpful database, since it contains, don't know, hundreds of imagery resources and historical sources and so on. So I think this would be the thing I would like to follow. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Subhashish. I'm going to talk about the FLOSS tools and hardware that you can use for audio, video, and image editing for uploading on Commons. First is Audacity. Probably a lot of you already know about Audacity. It's a really beautiful tool. It's an open source tool. It's very simple to operate. And in Audacity, you can do a lot of professional quality work. I use it all day. And this is available on for all platforms. So Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. PattyPan has been developed by a Wikimedian, and is a great tool for creating metadata and uploading on Commons. So you can upload a batch of pictures or videos or audios on Commons, and the Wikimedian who's developed that has been improving it every day. So that's a really great thing. mirror video converter, and this was suggested by Wikimania again. This is a great tool again. If you're converting your videos which are of like really heavy, you can downsize them and create WebM videos, and for audio as well, you can convert the audio files into OGG and upload them. Open Broadcasting software is a live audio-visual broadcasting tool. If you're creating something like a podcast or making a live show of Wikipedians, having a meetup or something like that, this is a great tool. You can have a lot of things. You can add logos into your video. When you're creating, say, live shows on Facebook or Twitter, you can always do a lot of things by using this. GIMP is a great tool for photo editing, and it's as good as Photoshop. It's available again on all platforms. Inkscape is great for vector image editing. So if you're creating a vector image of anything for Wikipedia, this is a great tool. Blender is one of the greatest tools available on the internet. It's a great open source tool for animation and video editing. A lot of professional quality videos have been created, animations have been created using Blender. It's again available in all platforms. Hydrogen is a great tool for making drum beats. So if you're creating something like a video and you need some free sound for that, this is a great tool for that. It's very simple as well. For the hardware, so if you're recording audio and video, you should think of investing for something like this, an audio recorder. So this is a kind of cheaper one. It's like $100, but there are expensive ones as well. Depending on how much budget you have, you can invest on that. But this is very useful because this kind of records on both sides, so it's a stereo, and it's a great thing for field recording. If you have a small home studio setup, that's also great for that. And if you cannot afford that, then your earphones are great audio are great microphones. And if you don't have that, then your smartphone is a great device as well. This is my home studio setup. So what I normally do is I have my computer and my microphone on my couch, and I have these small little pillows around it. So it kind of produces a dead sound, a kind of dry sound, so I don't get a lot of echoes. And this is a great thing. This is like a really cheap monitoring headphone that you definitely should have, because it's also difficult at times to know how your live audio recording is going on. That microphone over there is a studio quality microphone, but it's a really cheap one. It goes directly into your computer. It has a USB output, so you don't have to invest on audio interface or mixer and things like that. And for video recording, I would suggest for DSLR because it's a great quality. But nowadays, a lot of phones have really good quality video recording facilities, so you don't probably have to invest so much on a DSLR. It's also bulky to carry, so in events like this, it's also difficult to carry a DSLR and do. So I have my small, smartphone in a small tripod, and that's doing a live Twitter show right now. Yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Just a technical one, the cell phones, some of them with the headphone jacks, you're suggesting that if they have 3 parts to them, you plug in the headphones and that becomes a microphone?
Right.
Really?
Yeah. And that's a great thing because normally your headphone would kind of crack up the voice a little bit. If you connect a microphone, the voice is going to be really great.
I've seen ones that you plug in the music store,
Right.
professional microphones, but I didn't know you could use the headphones.
Yeah, absolutely. Any more questions?
Quick also kind of technical question. I really liked your presentations. I've forgotten all of those already. Is this going to go on Commons?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to upload the PDF on Commons.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
One more?
Are you on the list?
No, I'm not going up. I just had a question.
Oh, go.
Open Broadcast Studio, I use it, but only on YouTube. How do you use it on Wikimedia?
Well, as I said, if you're posting kind of something like a workshop or meetup, and you want the other community members to watch it live, you can do that. You can use it.
Yeah, it's great software.
Yeah, it is. A lot of gamers use that. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thanks. folks, I think I'm the last speaker, so if anyone else wants to give a talk, you can get ready. I know that Jarek and some other folks want to talk, and John, great. Lightning talks are one of my favorite things at conferences because you can never leave one without learning a lot of cool stuff. Right? It's such high value in such a short amount of time. So this is just a very quick thing that I thought some people might want to know about because people kept asking me about it when we had this pre-conference that we had today. And the, what is the title of this talk anyway? It's about how to use spreadsheets to do crazy, not crazy things, but great things on Wikipedia and Wikidata. So here's the problem with editing. If you're getting more experience with editing Wikipedia and Wikidata, if you want to edit one thing, you can go through the web browser. Not bad, but it's one item at a time. If you want to edit lots of things, you can write a bot, but that's scary. Even I know how to code, and I'm worried about modifying hundreds of thousands of things and people yelling at me. So what if you want to edit groups of things, piles of things that are not that big, but we wish we had better tools for this. So you definitely can use tools like PetScan, so people have not used that before. That's a really fancy tool that Magnus Manske has made. Quick statements if you're using Wikidata. But a lot of us know how to use spreadsheets well. Right? So spreadsheets are great tools for calculating things, replicating things, sorting things. How do you get that stuff or interact with that and Wikipedia? So I don't know, how many people here have heard of Google Sheets before on Google? How many people have installed the Google Sheets, Wikipedia, and Wikidata tools before? You have to install this. This is incredible. So if you are on Sheets, if you go to add-ons, you just say get add-ons. And there is an add-on called Wikipedia and Wikidata tools, and it gives you formulas in the spreadsheet where you can query Wikipedia. You can't write to Wikipedia, but you can query it, and you can query Wikidata as well. These are great tools. So here's an example of how one works. If you have like Altoona, Pennsylvania here, you can actually put in a function or a formula called Wiki Articles Around. And I can actually go in here and say, what is within 400 miles of Altoona, Pennsylvania? And it should pop up that. It's hitting Wikipedia live and getting this info, which is wild, right? So notice that here it is trying to be language friendly, so that if I put in Altoona, Pennsylvania, I just put in an EN before that here in my formula. I concatenate it with the name here, and then I put in the metric 400, and I get cool stuff like that. So now you can go into like, Google Sheets, arrays, and variables, and do all kinds of cool things. If you ever have any problem with figuring out what to do, you go here and you say, show documentation, and look at all these functions that you have here. Really cool, right? So even just to evaluate what's out there, it's really cool to have these tools. So how do I use it? Well, so this is just the start of things. So what do I want to do? I want to go beyond this. I want to query Wikipedia, but then I start to use ORS. How many people here have heard of ORS? O-R-E-S, revision scoring. So it is a machine way of giving you a rating on an article without human eyes having to scan it. So I said, well, I'd love to find out the ORS score of Wikipedia articles, so I've written two functions for Google Sheets. I haven't modularized them, but let me know if you want them early. I'm going to try to submit them in some way. You can get the rev IDs. You can query the article and say, give me the unique string for a revision, and then you can calculate the ORS score for that article, which is kind of cool. So what can you do with this? The cool thing you can do with this is you can do stuff like this. So I've actually gone through here, and I was working with the Auckland Museum. There's a Wikipedia in residence, and she said, could you help me evaluate how good our articles are about our museum? And I said, well, give me a list of your articles, and then I put in a spreadsheet, and I shared the spreadsheet so she could see me doing this in real time. It'll grab the rev ID by hitting Wikipedia, then it'll calculate the score, like in front of her. You just paste it in there, it goes boom, 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 it's a featured, it's a good, it's a C, that's amazing if you think about it. Not just for her, but for me, I was like, unbelievable. I would spend hours doing this. I can just paste it into a spreadsheet. Then I can grab the Wikidata Q number, because there are Wikidata functions in there, right? If you go in here and you say, show documentation, you can actually grab the QID with Wikidata QID here. And then you can grab what Wikidata thinks the description is, and I can immediately see that Ingrid Anderson does not have a presence in our Wikiverse. Or I can go down here and say, well, this one does have a Wikidata item, Malagan, but there's a missing description. So let's do some magic. This is always dangerous, live demo. Malagan has no description right now. So let's see what the Malagan article says. It's a traditional cultural event that takes place in UR. Okay, let's see what happens. Yikes. Edit. I'm going to paste in a description right there. That is the description now of Malagan. It has not changed because I need to refresh it. I'm going to delete that cell. Copy this, cross your fingers. There we go. Live. So
Google Sheets has pinged Wikidata, said, oh, there's description there, pulled it back, and now it's live in your spreadsheet. Is that pretty cool? I think it's pretty cool. Like, I'm still like, wow. So the downside, the big downside, if you put in more than 100 rows here, it could kind of not work. So that's the problem. Like, we're at hundreds of thousands of bots, and then we're kind of like at 100 with Google Sheets because every single query is a query from your computer via JavaScript. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4 columns by 100. That's 400 calls in one shot. That's a lot. But anyway, I just wanted to show that to you. If you're interested in doing something like this, let me know. Emily Templewood, Wikimedian of the Year, is using this for her women scientists. Rosie Stevenson Goodnight is using this for Women in Red. I think it's great for editathons. You just say, we're going to work on these 30 articles, paste them in there, and show the progress. And I just will show you the one thing that we did with Smithsonian. This is what we did with Smithsonian recently. And we just kind of snapshotted the score before an editathon and after an editathon. So you see that not that much has changed, but you can see that this article went from stub to start in that time period. And it's just great as a 10,000-foot view dashboard of a whole group of articles, and you can do all kinds of cool stuff. That's it.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll do it.
Okay, Jarek, who else wants to go? Okay, who else? Jan? Anyone else? Kevin? Okay, at least 3 more. Okay, go ahead. We have time.
Let's see. Okay, how does this work? How do I connect to
Is it VGA or is it HDMI? You have HDMI?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oops, sorry, hit your button.
Okay. Yeah.
That's fine.
Let's see what that button does. Did you just put it to sleep?
I think I might have. That's what happens to your power buttons right next to the HDMI cable. Yeah, it's on. It's on.
Okay. But did I just rebooted my machine?
No. Yes.
Oh, that okay. So let me just. I cannot talk and write passwords. But I would like to. A long time ago, I was looking through some articles related to some really esoteric bugs, and found that they don't have photos. And I'm pretty passionate about adding photos to the articles that don't have any photos. So I do what I usually do. I went on Flickr and I found great photos, but they didn't have a very good license. Not compatible. So I wrote to the lady called Judy Gallagher, who was like, sure, I will convert it, you know, my 10,000 images to CC BY license. And so suddenly I have a problem. This lady, she had 5,000, suddenly, like, I showed her how to do it over, you know, like in a one click, change all the license to 10,000 images. So I had, you know, tens of thousands of, and let's just show you like a random image that, you know, she's taking, you know. She had 5,000 images of really high quality close-up of bugs. And what she was also really good at was at identifying them. So all those bugs come with a, you know, this one, it was not very well identified because she only managed to get to the family. But many of them are all the way to the species level. So suddenly I had a problem of how to upload 5,000 related items from Flickr, because, you know, I asked for it, you know, so now I better do it, you know. So anyway, it was a lot of work and it was a lot of fun. I managed to add them to Wikidata items that didn't have any images, but there might be still quite a lot of articles in individual Wikipedias. A lot of Wikipedias pull them automatically. If they don't have an image, they just put automatically P18 from Wikidata. But I think English Wikipedia is not doing that. So there might be some manual ads that would need to be done. But I'm just I was very pleased that just kind of, hey, can you release them? Yeah, sure, here's 10,000 images. So anyway, that's kind of my talk.
John? Yes.
Bit different in size, I thought.
At least you can see the letters well.
Let's see if I can change this. Quickly.
Is there an internal monitor? Yeah,
Better.
looks better.
That's fine.
Can I get it to go to? Yes. No.
Can you change the size by hand?
Yeah, Control minus.
Zoomed in because it was too small on mine here. Let's go
Okay.
like this. So this all started with.
It wanted to go big.
Right. Okay. Keep this. Yes. All right. So this started with this newspaper. It's the longest running newspaper in the world since 1645, and it turned out that the Royal Library, the National Library in Sweden, already digitized them and published them under CC0. And what was also very great is that they already transcribed them. So it was easy to upload them to Commons and easy to put them onto Wiki source, just like the standard procedure so far. And it was easy to also improve on the transcription and the transcription. And of course, here's the final result of the single upload. So far, no news. Very common procedure for all the wiki sources. What was more interesting later on was that we looked at these things and saw, hey, each of these sections in the newspaper are sort of a report from somewhere in Europe from a specific date during the Great War, the 30-year-old war. What if we take each of these dates and put them into a WordPress blog and sort of making a blog over the year instead so you can follow it? Because these issues were coming in with reports from different times and published, so they were all over. Now we've got a sweet chronological order. But not also that, only that. We thought we would improve on this. So we added links to places and to persons and connected them to Wikidata, which made it possible for us to retrieve that and make a local triple store out of it. And that made it possible to do a tool sort of like this. Let's see if I can zoom this. Better. Perhaps not zoom. Zoom out like this. Define. No, I don't see it because it's too far down. I need to resize the window. I see this. It's really cool. How big is this window? There's some buttons in the bottom. Here. And then we'll go over here. Just right. Which made it possible to press play, and you can see where the reports were coming in during the entire year.
Wow.
So that made us sort of visualize the data that was already there. And we also made, this is very small, but you can see each of these rows on each axis are persons, and you can see the covariance, like who was appearing with whom during the time. So this enabled us to do more humanitarian analysis of the data. That's my question.
If I could give my talk like without a computer.
I have a DisplayPort adapter, but it's at the bottom of my.
Kevin, why don't you come up?
I can do this without a computer. Some of you might have heard this talk before, but I'm just going to go with this. Show of hands, who here would be surprised to know that you had an FBI file on you? Yeah, I would be surprised too. No one else would be surprised if you figured out that you had an FBI file on you? Not very good. I run an organization in Iowa. It's called the Iowa Institute for Public Accountability. It's a 501c3 nonprofit that tries to increase government accountability. And one of the projects that we're doing right now involves Wikidata. And it uses Wikidata to send FOIA requests. Now, show of hands here, who here knows what FOIA is? It stands for the Freedom of Information Act in the United States. And basically what it does is, in certain circumstances, when you ask the government for certain information, they have to give it to you, which they usually don't like doing, but they do it anyway, and they'll grumble about you over lunch or something. The FBI is one of those government agencies that is responsible for this. And FBI files become public when the subject dies. Back in March of this year, an EFF staffer and Wikipedian, Parker Higgins, I'm not sure if any of you know of him, but he's an awesome person, started a project called FOIA the Dead. And basically what it does is every single time New York Times publishes an obituary, he sends off a FOIA request to the FBI for that person's records. Which got some interesting coverage, and the FBI got mad and turned off their email submission service. Although we found a way around that. And so here's the question for you: why don't we do that with every single deceased person on a Wikimedia project? Why don't we do that with every single person who's listed as deceased on Wikidata?
I don't want to die.
So we're doing that. My organization is doing that. It's in the beginning stages of the project, and there's still some technical problems to work out. But we're well on our way to grabbing the FBI files on every single person on Wikidata. Now, the rate of FBI files isn't incredibly high. It's something like 2 to 3% of people on Wikidata probably have an FBI file on them. But the ones that do come up are truly exceptional. I mean, I read through the thousands of page-long things on Martin Luther King, for example, and it was truly interesting to see how the FBI is investigating its citizens. And after we get that all through, we'll put it back on Wikisource and Wikimedia Commons and the Internet Archive and do fun stuff with Wikidata. If anyone wants to know if you have an FBI, if the FBI has a file on you, talk to me. I have some forms. I'll be right around here. Thank you.
So I'm going to try and keep this under 1 minute. This is an animation which I made.
Is there a question?
Pardon?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Wait, let's get them done first, and then you can talk to them afterwards, please. Thank you.
So this is an animation I made. I got from Victor Grigas, I got the 3D file of the Wikipedia globe, but it was really nasty, and so I had to redraw it. And so I did that in Blender, which is one of the programs that was mentioned earlier. And what I've got here is I've got the actual bits of the thing, but you don't see the letters here until I place some code there, which I can adjust the thickness and what and how deeply the letters are indented. So if you want to 3D print the Wikipedia globe or animate it like that, then speak to me and you can 3D print it as well, make your own assemblable Wikipedia globe. The project's on GitHub as well. So if you Google for Wikipedia globe, then you can go to GitHub. Cool, that's it.
Thank you. All right, we're 12:30 exactly. Thanks, everyone. This has been great. And this is actually on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, all the lightning talks have been recorded for the last 90 minutes. Yes, it's on my channel, but it should be discoverable with Wikimania 2017 Lightning. Yeah.